Hi, welcome back to Wilson's Wild Ride, where we do all things RV and travel. If that's something you're interested in, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Today we are so excited. We are excited because we are finally getting our spring and summer on. We are moving. We've been in Louisiana for 4 months on a job, and now we get to move. We're going over to Corpus Christi, Texas. But first, before we do that, we're going to show you how to break down and get set up for your next ride. Up next.
Size of our tires. All right, now that we've gone over.
This place is great.
All right, so we're going to be breaking down the outside today. Renee's going to do the inside, and she'll show you that here in just a little bit. But this is what I do. I open up my dry well. I go ahead and I get my containers out. Get it all sorted out here. First thing I like to do is I like to go ahead and turn the water off. So this particular RV park has 2 water outlets. One that I use for my black water flush, and then also my regular city water, which has been very nice. Not all of them have that. But go ahead, get that. So before I unhooked these, what I did is I went ahead and I filled up my fresh water tank. You want to make sure that whenever you're on the road that you're going to have enough water in case you need to stop and use the restroom. You have your water pump that you can do that. I'm gonna come over here, and you never want to confuse these two. You always have one for your black water flush, and you always have one for your fresh water. And this one is for the black. So to keep from getting these guys confused, I have a bin that has nothing but, it's just for my Stinky Slinky, it's just for these hoses here, and for my little ramp for my Stinky Slinky there. They all go in here. I have an extension for the Stinky Slinky, but we didn't need it this time since we're right here close. Push that back in. All right, so I'm breaking. I've got this is a quick disconnect. You can get them from Lowe's. Most of any hardware store will have them. I like them because they're just, especially if you're doing like an overnighter or something like that, it's easy to break in. Just go in here and snap it in place. It snaps right in and unsnaps, and you're ready to go. Pull it out, and you want to make sure that you get all the water out of it. You don't have a puddle inside there when you get to the next site. I'll put this one in here.
Which hose is that?
This is my freshwater hose, and like I said, I keep those 2 separated. Next thing I'm going to do, now earlier today I went ahead and I flushed the black tank, which I've got a video on that. You guys please check it out, see what you think. So first thing I'm gonna do is make sure the black tank is shut, and it is. So since I did the flush, I shut the gray tanks. I got one here for the bathroom, one on the other side for the kitchen. So what I'm gonna do now is the water that was collected in there with the soap and all the rest of it, it's going to clean that Slinky out for me. Now all I'm gonna do is open this up, and I'm gonna go over here to the other one. I'm gonna open it up too. Now you can see, got some nice clean fresh water going through there with some soap in it. It's doing its job, and when that thing stops, when it finally comes to a stop, I'm gonna close both of these valves off, So whenever you disconnect your electric, you want to make sure that you're first of all that you're done inside, and then when you go to disconnect it, go ahead, turn the breaker off. We have a surge protector. We'll flip the breaker off, and then we'll unplug it, and we'll roll this cord up. See this? That's our surge protector, and the breakers are up here. We'll flip that breaker off, and then we'll pull that out, and then the power will be off. Just roll that. We'll roll that extension cord up and stick it inside there, and then that's it. We've got chalks. Whatever you do, don't forget to take your chalks out. You don't want to run one of them over, especially if you're using Anderson blocks. I love my Anderson blocks. But yeah, you want to make sure that we get these out. They shouldn't be, unless you're sitting somewhere that's not level. This place is really level, so I mean, as you see, they just come right out, no problem. But if you're sitting somewhere that's not level, one side might come out no problem, but the other one, you might have to either pull up or back up a little bit to get the other one out. But we're done with these. And the next thing is we got to get our X braces out, or X chocks out, and then we'll pull up the four corners, and we'll be ready to ride. All right, so we're going to put the weight distribution hitch on the truck. Now, going from the 1/2 ton to the 3/4 ton, the receiver on the 3/4 ton is larger. So the truck came with this sleeve, so I got to put this sleeve in first. Now you will make sure the holes are on each side, like that. And it just slides right in, just like so. But this is the Blue Ox weight distribution hitch. And this dude's gonna go on just like this. See, I do it. It's gonna be a hill because I think it's stuck in there now. Let's try something different. How about that? I don't know if that's gonna work any better, but let's try it. All right, we're in. Now we're gonna put this guy, roll that up a little bit. That's it. Now we're on. So, to keep from squeaking and making a lot of noise, you always want to put a little bit of grease on the top of your ball. That way, as you turn and it's not dry. Because if it's metal to metal dry, you know, it'll squeak and make a lot of racket. And especially when you go through an RV park and it's squeaking and making all that noise, it can be kind of embarrassing. Another thing, so your propane tanks, make sure that you have your lid faced this way, because when you're going down the road, if these little guys happen to come loose and it's faced the other way, this is going to flip up, and when you get to wherever you're going, this is going to be gone. So this is the Blue Ox weight distribution hitch with the 1,000-pound bars. Now I'm going to put these up, all four of them, because what I'm doing is I had to move my weight distribution hitch because we purchased a new tow vehicle. So now the setup is different. So I moved it, but I did that before I had my toolbox and everything in the back of the truck. So I'm just wanting to make sure that way tomorrow morning when we leave out of here early, I don't have to worry about trying to take care of all that. I want to make sure it's done this evening. So I'm going to all four corners, going to lift these jacks up. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I've got all 4 of them up. Now I'm gonna raise this up high enough where I could pull the truck, pull the ball up underneath here and get the trailer on there. And then I'm gonna set it down and we're gonna see where we are. We should be pretty close to where I have it set, but this is, like I said, this is just double checking and making sure. That way we're not having to do a bunch of changing in the morning.
Okay, now that Wilson's shown you a little bit about outside and how to break those hoses and things down, I'm gonna tell you what I do while I'm inside. And the first thing I do is clean. You see, you can look around right now and we're not exactly ready to be hitting the road without things flying everywhere. So the first thing I do is I take out all the carpets and get them outside so I can get them dusted off before we hit the road. Then I clean everything and put them off and take them off the counters. And I'm gonna show you how to do that. And now we're gonna take all these carpets, and I can't even wait to see, because even though I clean these things, everything comes dragging in. Okay, more on that later. Then I go around and make sure that everything else is off the countertops and put away nothing. I check everything to make sure that it's not going to be movable or it won't go airborne while we're driving. And that includes our little utensil buckets, coffee pots, anything on the counters. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now that I've cleaned off all the countertops in the place, I'm going to sanitize them. I'm going to take my wipes and I'm going to sanitize every countertop that's in here. And I haven't even done the floors yet, but I want to make sure that I get all the countertops completely cleaned, and that includes the bathroom. Don't forget your bathroom. Make sure you have everything off the countertop in there, put away and snugly put away. And then get your wipes out or your sponges and make sure that all your countertops are completely clean. Okay, now that all the countertops are clean, I'm going to start the floors. And this is what's important about doing the floors on this, is that I need to get this broom under here, because this is where, when you pull your slide outs in, that you're going to have things that have been stuck there. I've heard about kids' toys breaking an entire pull out just because of that. So make sure that you dig that broom in there and get it all, and make sure you're just checking it really, really well. This is our Amazon find. It's a tiny little Bissell, and it has been a lifesaver because it's really hard to do this little crevice right here with just this. You can't hardly get it on there because it's too small for this, and it's just right for this. So I love this thing. It gets in all the little tiny cracks, and I don't have a big vacuum cleaner to have to handle. And plus, you're not supposed to use big vacuums on these floors in the RVs anyway. Okay, after you've done all the floors, you've cleaned all the carpets outside and really got get all the dust out of them as much as possible, okay? You're gonna bring them back in, put them back on the floors. That's what I do. There's one carpet over here that I roll up, and that's the one that goes in front of the recliners, because when you push in the walls, then it doesn't work. So I roll that one up, but everything else stays. And then I do this. I'm going to put my thing that I've showed you guys before that I use as an extra counter space sometimes, and I put all of my stuff that I use out here in it, roll it up, do that, make sure that those are secure. Those are my gloves. I'm going to take that off the counter. You know what I forgot? And as soon as you look around the room, you're going to discover one. This is not going to fly. Actually, this will fly. So I'm going to put that away. And then over here, this is a big deal with a lot of people, is that this cover right here has shattered during travel, or not even during travel, that they've had problems with it shattering. So what I do, and I'm not saying that this is going to work for you, and by the way, these are all these are secured. They don't go anywhere. I use my drying pad, which is really pretty thick, and then I put my tea towel over that. And I'm not saying that this works, I just say it's an extra little defense against whatever comes crashing, if it comes crashing. So I also look around. One of my last things to do is to make sure I look around. The last thing I do is I beat on every door in the trailer. Every single door gets beat on just to make sure that it has been that it's been secured. These drawers especially, because if you open these, when you're opening these slide outs, these doors will get stuck and you won't have a drawer anymore. So we just make sure that all the drawers are secured. You're not gonna have them flip out. And I have had them flip out, but when I come in after travel, I always make sure to bring the slide out just a bit. Then I walk over, look behind it to make sure the drawer is not out. So that's a little hint for you. Then the last thing that I do, and don't forget your bedroom. This is all the same in your bedroom and in your bathroom. I do the floors, I do the rugs if you have any, and make sure all the doors in that too is secured. And the last thing I do is I spray the whole place down with Lysol. Everything gets sprayed with Lysol. And because when you get done traveling, and if you're like us, sometimes it can be 5 hours a day. Once you get to your spot, it smells refreshed and it smells clean, and it's so nice to just come home to a really nice clean camper after you've been traveling. And now Wilson's going to show you one final thing that we do before we get started on the road. I'm so excited about being on the road.
All right, last thing that I like to do before we take off is you need to get up here on top of your roof and walk your roof. There's going to be a lot of stuff. Look at this. See all that? All that needs to come and get out of there, because especially on your slide outs, because you've got that kind of stuff, like these leaves right here. It's not much, but it's a little bit. If it gets in there, you don't want anything getting in there harming the seals, your seals on your slide outs. You want to make sure that they're all good, that the surface is good and clean. That way when it goes in there, it gets a good seal and you don't have any debris messing up your seals. While you're up here, walk around. All your little penetrations on your roof, you want to look at them. You want to inspect your caulking. You want to make sure none of that's got holes in it, because if it's got holes in it, water's going to find that and it's going to get in there. So since you're up here, go ahead and take care of that while you're doing it. And but that kind of wraps it up. This is kind of what we do before we take off. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to enjoy the ride.